I was part of writing 5 economic surveys. I was part of the team that did many major reforms like cleaning up of the banks. I was there as part of the core team that managed the economy through the COVID crisis. So it's been a great journey.
Speaking of PM, there is a popular notion that he works 18 to 20 hours a day. So, is it like really true? And Honorable Prime Minister recently congratulated his dear friend.
So I think President Trump is clear he's going to be disruptive. I was not particularly padhaku type.
Hello, viewers. We have amongst us none other than Mr. Sanjeev Sanyal, a noted economist and writer. He's currently serving as a member of the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister. Hello, sir. Welcome to the New Indian Express.
How do you do? Pleasure to be here.
I'm doing fine, sir. As someone who has been closely associated in molding key economic policies at the national level, how was your experience while working as a principal economic advisor?
So I've been in the government now for 8 years. The first 5 years was as principal economic advisor to the finance ministry, and then now for the last 3 years as economic advisor to the prime minister. Obviously, through that period, I have had many experiences. I was part of writing 5 economic surveys. I was part of the team that did many major reforms like cleaning up of the banks. I was there as part of the core team that managed the economy through the COVID crisis. All of this during the period when I was in finance ministry, and subsequently and in the prime minister's team, I've been pushing for large numbers of process reforms, some of which you have been implemented. So it's been a great journey, and I have to say that I'm grateful to the Honorable Prime Minister for giving me this opportunity.
How was it like working with the PM? Can you share an unforgettable memory as you have worked with him for so long?
So he is tough taskmaster. I mean, he allows you to say whatever you wish, but you really have to have done your homework because he will ask very pointed questions. And I've been always surprised that on a subject in which he probably didn't know very much about till I made that presentation, he would very quickly come to the nub of what is the difficult part of the whole thing and ask very pointed questions. So he's somebody who you really have to know your subject before you take it up to him.
And speaking of PM, there is a popular notion that he works 18 to 20 hours a day. So, is it like really true?
Well, I don't know if he works 18 to 20 hours a day. He does work very hard and long hours, that I do know. I've had meetings with him very early in the day and till very late at night. And then the next day, I suddenly see that he is flown off to Ladakh or some such place. And early morning, he is addressing the troops or something like that. So, I mean, clearly he works very long hours. Now, exactly how long they are, I don't know.
And Honorable Prime Minister recently congratulated his dear friend Trump on becoming the US president. So, what do you think? What kind of impact is Trump's arrival going to have on the world economy? Predictable or totally unpredictable?
So I think President Trump is clear he's going to be disruptive. So it's in that sense, it's entirely predictable because he has already told us he's going to be disruptive. But let me say that disruptive as it may be, it not necessarily negative. First of all, we have as a country dealt with him in his first term, and we had good relations at that time. But even in the second round, um, while there are some policies which may turn out to be difficult for us, uh, the general tone of things are in a direction which not necessarily bad for us if India plays its card well. For example, he has vowed to lower oil prices and keep it there, for a period of time. Now, as an oil importer, obviously that's good for us. Um, so there are many areas where may actually benefit us. But as with anything, it is not so much what President Trump's policies generally are as how we respond to them that will matter, because it will both create disruption and it will create opportunities for a new system of global trade and investment. And if we play our cards right, we could benefit from it in multiple ways.
Trump wants to make America great again. India, meanwhile, wants to be the wish guru. Will such competing ambitions end up throwing challenges and barriers?
No, I don't think they are. They are, they are necessarily against each other. I mean, Americans have still extraordinary people. In the last century and a half, they've made amazing contributions to world civilization, and I wish them well. It would be good to have America being great again. Not the least because the world needs more than one great power to be there. I mean that you don't want to live in a world where China entirely dominates the world. So even as even from a purely Indian perspective, you do want America to do well. It is our largest export market, so if it's growing, it's good for us. If it is powerful, it creates a balance geopolitically. So there are very good reasons why we would, as an emerging power, want America to continue to be a very powerful force in the world.
And you were an SRCC alumni, so were you seen regularly at the library, or you could be seen hanging out with your friends in the North Campus?
No, I was
Or
not.
Uncle Maggie Point, if I say that specifically.
No, those places didn't exist at that time. I was not particularly padhaku type, let's say. So no, I did visit the library once in a while, but I would not say I was there very often. In fact, I didn't attend classes very often. I didn't attend. In those days, attendance was not as well
Were you
regulated.
a part of any societies?
Yes, I was very much a part of the debating society. I and my debating partner, a gentleman called Siddharth Yog, we won lots of many of the debating trophies of that time in Delhi University. I was very much into sports, so those are the years. Not necessarily in college, but outside college, I pursued a lot of adventure sports. For example, I was one of the first to get a paragliding license in India, and back in 1990 or 91, I think it was 1990. And then, I was very serious about kayaking and canoeing and water sports. So I trained and got myself an instructor grade certification for that. So I was doing a lot of other things other than studying. And I did well in my exams too, to be fair. But it was not because I was spending large amounts of time in the library, I can assure you.
One book that you would recommend for students of economics so that they could gain a better understanding of the Indian economic policies?
So there's no one book. I think it's important to read a whole bunch of things and keep reading through the rest of your life. So I am against this business of the one book, one profit idea. Therefore read. That's the sort of thing the Marxists want you to do, just to keep you on a thing. I am a big believer that read widely, read about modern India, read about ancient India, read different philosophers, read Hayek, read Schumpeter, read even Marx for or new more modern writers from today like Nassim Taleb. And what will happen as a result of which you will get a flavor of the fact that the world is a complex place, an evolving place, and um, economics and policy making or investing, these are all activities that require continuous rethinking and iteration. It's not about having one great idea in the beginning and then sort of implementing it in some 5-year plan sort of way.
And one last and very important question, what's your take on the popcorn tax?
No, I mean it's a result of having a very complex taxation system. So as I have been long advocate of having much simpler taxes. The more complex the tax is, each each complication then has further unintended consequences. And so in the end, you will end up with a very, you will keep trying to adjust for each wrinkle in the system. You'll have to create another wrinkle, and so on and so forth. And there's no end to it. Therefore, I am a big believer that you should have a very, very simple system. Um, so the simpler the system, the fewer the wrinkles, and fewer reason for doing this kind of gymnastics in order to try and do this have this kind of popcorn tax kind of debates, because there's no reason to have these debates. They are the result of complex systems that we really need to get on and simplify.
That's all. Thank you so